Colan here. You know, in 1948, a guy named George de Mestral was taking some time off, hunting in the Swiss mountains with his dog, really enjoying and convening with nature a little bit. After a while, he noticed his dog kind of getting all antsy and itchy and stuff, and he went down to help him, and as he went over to walk over to help his dog, his pants kind of stuck together, and he started to pull out these little cockaburros, had little hooks and loops in them, and he actually took them home and looked at them under a microscope. He was a pretty curious guy. They even called him Curious George. This started a 10-year journey for George, though, to try to figure out how to make the first man-made kookaburra, or prickler, as I called them when we were kids. And that man-made kookaburra is what we know today as Velcro, right? One of the stickiest substances we know to man. Well, I love that story because not only is it a story about creating something sticky, but it's a story about someone really sticking to their plans over time. And if you think about the times when you've really stuck to your plans and been most successful, you've probably done three things. You've sharpened your focus, you've built your competence, and you've ignited your passion. I want to talk to you today a little bit about what I call the Adherence Equation. Focus times competence times passion equals our ability to adhere or stick to our plans. Let me take a few minutes on each of those, hopefully just offering some practical tips. Let's talk about sharpening our focus. If you think about two sources of energy, the sun and a laser. The sun is an incredibly powerful source of energy, giving billions of kilowatts of energy an hour, showering the earth with it. However, with some sunscreen and a baseball cap, we can deflect most of the ill effects of that incredibly powerful source of energy. On the other hand, a laser is a relatively weak source of energy. It only gives off a few kilowatts of power an hour. But because it's given off in a very focused, coherent stream, a laser could cut a diamond in half, and it could even cure certain types of cancer. So my question to you today is, are you being a sun or a laser for your goals? If you're managing others, are you being a sun or a laser for your team? If you're just leading yourself, are you being a sun or a laser for the things that are most important to you? We have to learn how to say no to the right things in order to say yes to the other things. So we have to be laser-like. Our precious resources, which are our time, money, and energy, all right, we can only use them in one place. We don't get them back to use them somewhere else. So if we say yes to something, by default, we're saying no to something else. Make sure you're saying yes to those things that are most important to you, so you can say no to things that are not as value added. So make sure you're sharpening your focus day in and day out by saying no to the right things, saying yes to the right things. We have to have that laser-like focus. The other portion to the adherence equation, sharpen our focus first, and then build our competence. When I use the word competence, I'm using it in the broadest sense of the word. Not just our skills, but everything we bring to the table, our systems, our processes, everything to be successful in our work and in our life. But one of the skills that we tend not to think about as much is the skill of alertness. Let me share an example to kind of demonstrate what I mean by the skill of alertness. When's the last time you saw a yellow car? You might be thinking to yourself, well, I saw one yesterday, or maybe last week, or I'm not quite sure. And if you live in a large metro area like in New York, you're cheating because you probably see hundreds of yellow cabs every day. But generally, if you go back, after you watch this video today, you go back home and get in your car, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, that guy Lee, he must have some connection with Detroit. There are yellow cars all over the road now. You're going to notice many more yellow cars simply because I heightened your awareness of them. I was first made aware of what I call this yellow car phenomena when my wife was pregnant with our first of 3 children. We were walking around Dallas and going to all the baby shopping, getting all the paraphernalia. And I thought to myself, I looked around and I said, oh my gosh, everybody must be drinking the wrong water here. What's going on? Everybody's pregnant. Well, the fact is, I just had a heightened awareness to this state of pregnancy, right? There weren't any more people pregnant then than there were 5 years, 10 years before. It didn't matter. But I had a heightened state of awareness. So we can leverage this yellow car phenomena to heighten our awareness for something that we want more of in our life. Do you want more money? Do you want better relationships? Do you want more job opportunities? Do you want someone to mentor you? Do you want more insights into a problem you've been having? To the extent that we focus our mental energy around that and heighten our awareness and talk to people about that, all of a sudden you're going to have what I call the old V8 effect. Oh my gosh, why didn't I see that all along? It was right in front of me. I guarantee that. Now, again, back to the laser-like focus under the focus section, right? We can't just say we want more of everything and then we start trying to look for it. Well, then we're like a sun. We're not like a laser. What's one thing that's really important to you right now, and focus on that. I guarantee you start focusing on that, you're going to start seeing more opportunities, more leads, more things that help you develop that skill, that opportunity, that better relationship in your life. So think about that as we build our competence. Certainly all the traditional skills are important, but the skill of alertness is critical, because the fact is what we focus on is what we get more of in our life. You ever met somebody that kind of always seems to be living in a soap opera? Everything that happens, all this drama all the time. And the fact is, unfortunately, some people have that. But in most cases, if you look deeper, that person is focusing on the drama. And hence, they're living in a soap opera. The same thing can happen. If you focus on humor, you could be living in a comedy. Isn't that a better choice? The things we focus on are the things that we find more of in our life. So we touched on sharpening our focus and building our competence. The last component is kind of what I call the X factor. That's igniting your passion. For years, the researchers for the highest performers, teams and individuals, couldn't figure out this X factor. What made this team or individual higher performing than this one? They both had good focus, they both had good competence. They realized it was passion. That passion for getting things done, for feeling something, you're working towards something bigger than yourselves. Our passion enables us to do ordinary things in extraordinary ways. So we also have to, in order to kind of ignite our passion, we have to find something that's bigger than ourselves. It's not just about us. Why am I working on this? I love this great little kind of parable of three guys working in a construction yard, and they ask the first guy, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm laying bricks. Ask the second guy, he says, well, I'm building a wall. Ask the third guy what he's doing, he says, well, I'm building a place of worship, a cathedral. Well, which one of those guys do you think is going to be more passionate about what he's doing, give more discretionary effort, be willing to do what others aren't willing to do so he could achieve his goals and also his team's goals? The third guy, of course, because he sees the bigger picture. So in terms of igniting your passion, look for something that's bigger than you, something you can latch onto, something where it's so important to you, where any of the obstacles or inconveniences along the way don't look like stumbling blocks, they just look like stepping stones to get you to something greater. So remember the adherence equation. Sharpen your focus, build your competence, and ignite your passion. Put all those three together, and you'll be able to stick to your plans better than anybody else. And again, you know, it's easy to talk about sticking to it, keep a stiff upper lip, all these nice sayings, but I want to just boil it down to some simple activities you can do, simple steps you can take to achieve your goals today. So think about what our friend George de Mestral did. Focus on what's most important to you. All right? Build your competence around it and find that higher purpose to ignite your passion, and you will stick to it. Remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to be started to be great. So get started today and stick to it. You will win.